Katsuki smiles at the sight of Alexander playing, and he nods his head. He's feeling so proud of their son, and he can't believe how much he's changed in the past year. Yeah, we really are doing a good job. He's growing so fast, and he's learning so much. I think we're definitely doing something right. Katsuki laughs a little bit at the thought of all the sleepless nights and diaper changes. He knows that it's been a lot of work, but he also can't deny that it's been worth it. Their son is such a sweet and adorable little boy, and they're so lucky to have him. Katsuki nods his head in agreement. He knows that their son is going to be a bit of a handful when he's a toddler, but he also believes that they'll be able to handle it. He looks at Jake and smiles. Yeah, I think we'll be okay. We've made it this far, and I'm sure we can handle anything that comes our way. Plus, I think having a little troublemaker will be fun. Katsuki chuckles at the thought of Alexander trying to get into everything around the house. He's definitely a curious little boy, and he can't resist exploring his surroundings. Katsuki can imagine the look on his face when he gets into something he's not supposed to. Yeah, he's definitely a little troublemaker. But I love how curious he is, and how he always wants to explore. I think it's a good thing that he's so interested in everything. Katsuki laughs as he watches Alexander playing with his toys and talking to them. It's so cute to see how much he's enjoying himself, and how he's treating his toys like they're his friends. He's such a sweet little boy, and Katsuki is feeling a bit emotional just watching him. Katsuki nods his head in agreement. He can't understand a word that Alexander is saying, but he can tell that he's having a lot of fun. He's talking and laughing and making all kinds of noises. It's like he's having a full conversation with his toys, and it's so adorable. Katsuki laughs at the idea of putting a video on the TV for Alexander to watch and learn how to talk. He's not sure if it'll work, but it's worth a try. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Maybe if he watches the video, he'll start to pick up on the sounds and try to imitate them. It's definitely worth a shot. Katsuki nods his head in agreement. He's heard of Miss Rachel before, and he knows that she's supposed to be very good at teaching children how to talk. It sounds like she would be a great choice for Alexander to watch. Yeah, I think she's a great option. She has a very soothing and calming voice, and she seems like she would be able to connect with kids. Katsuki and Jake watch as Alexander stares up at the TV, completely captivated by Miss Rachel and her sweet voice. He seems completely enthralled with her, and they can't help but smile at the sight. It's clear that she's already getting through to him. Katsuki. I think he's really into it. He seems so focused on her voice and her words. I think this might be working. Katsuki nods his head in agreement. He knows that he has some chores that he needs to do around the house. So this is a perfect opportunity to let Alexander watch the video and for them to take care of some things. He smiles at the sight of his son watching the video with such interest. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We should let him keep watching for now, and then we can come back and check on him later. Alexander seems to be paying very close attention to the video and trying to mimic what Miss Rachel is saying. He's moving his lips and making the sounds as closely as he can, and he's even trying to say the words exactly as she says them. It's clear that he's trying very hard to learn and copy what she's saying. Katsuki. I think he's really getting into it. He's trying so hard to copy her and say the words correctly. I can't believe how well he's doing. Katsuki smiles as he watches Alexander trying so hard to copy Miss Rachel. He's making the sounds and trying to say the words the best he can. Katsuki can't wait for him to finally say the words, but he knows that he needs to be patient. It is cute. I think he's going to say it soon. He's trying so hard. I'm just glad that he's enjoying the video. Katsuki watches as Alexander tries to say mama, but he can't quite get it right. He's making the sounds and trying to say it as close as he can, but it's still coming out a little bit wrong. Katsuki can tell that Alexander is trying his hardest, and he can't help but feel proud of him. Come on, you can do it. Say the word like Miss Rachel says it. You can do it. Katsuki keeps watching as Miss Rachel keeps repeating the words mama and dada and showing different pictures. He can see that Alexander is starting to get the hang of it, and he's starting to say the words more clearly. Katsuki is feeling so proud of him. He's getting it. I can't believe how much progress he's making. I think he's going to say it soon. Katsuki is completely stunned when he hears Alexander say dad for the first time. He can't believe how clearly he said it, and he's so proud of his son. He looks at Jake and smiles. Oh my God, did you hear that? He just said dad. It was so clear and loud. I can't believe it. Katsuki can't help but smile as he sees Alexander bouncing around and saying dad and daddy. He's so excited that he finally said his first words. He's so proud of his son, and he's feeling so emotional. Oh my God, that's amazing. He did it. He said it. He's finally talking. I can't believe it. He's so smart and so adorable. Katsuki smiles as he sees Alexander grabbing his leg and wanting to be picked up. He can't help but feel so overwhelmed with emotion. He's been wanting this moment for so long, and he's so happy that it finally happened. Come here, you little rascal. Katsuki picks up Alexander and holds him close, feeling his son's warmth against him. He can't help but feel so proud and happy. Katsuki looks down at Alexander, who is smiling up at him with those big, bright eyes. Katsuki can't help but feel so happy. Say it again for Daddy. Say it one more time, and I'll give you a cookie. What do you say? Katsuki smiles even wider as he hears Alexander say it again. He can't believe how quickly he picked it up and how well he said it. He's so proud of his son, and how fast he learned to talk. That's it. You did it. You said, Daddy. Here you go. Here's your cookie. Katsuki hands Alexander a cookie and watches him eat it, feeling so happy. Katsuki laughs a little bit at the thought of Jake being called Daddy too. He knows that they're both going to be parents to their son, but he can't help but feel a bit jealous that he's the one who gets to be called Daddy. He smiles at Jake. I guess we'll both be called Daddy, but you can be Mommy if you want. It's up to you. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He thinks it's cute too, and he's glad that they're both going to be part of their son's life. That's fine with me. I think it's pretty cute too. We'll both be Mommy and Daddy, and we'll always be there for our son. Katsuki and Jake both smile as they hear Alexander say Mommy for the first time. It's such a sweet moment, and they're both feeling so emotional. They're both so happy that he's learning and growing so fast. That's right. You're our mommy now. We're your mommy and daddy. Katsuki and Jake both wrap their arms around Alexander, feeling so happy that he's finally calling them mommy and daddy. They're both so happy and so proud of their son. They can't believe how quickly he's learning and growing up. We love you so much, Alexander. We're so happy to be your mommy and daddy. Katsuki and Jake watch as Alexander continues to watch the video. He seems so focused and so interested in what Miss Rachel is saying. They can't help but feel so proud of him. They know that he's going to keep learning and growing, and they're excited to see what he'll learn next. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He's glad that Alexander is distracted, because it means they can get some time to themselves. He's feeling a bit hungry after watching Alexander for so long, so he's looking forward to dinner. Okay, I'll keep an eye on him while you cook. Just let me know if you need any help. Katsuki sits on the couch and watches Alexander as he keeps watching the video. He's so focused on the screen, and he's not even paying attention to what Katsuki is doing. Katsuki smiles to himself as he watches him, feeling so happy that his son is so interested in learning. Katsuki can't help but feel his heart melt a little bit when he hears Miss Rachel say that. He knows that Alexander is going to start saying more words soon, and he's feeling so excited for it. He watches as Miss Rachel continues to teach Alexander about the different foods. Katsuki can't help but laugh a little bit as he watches Alexander try to mimic Miss Rachel's hand motions and say the word drink. He's doing pretty well, considering he's still learning how to do it. Katsuki is so proud of him, and he can't wait to see him succeed in saying the word correctly. Katsuki nods his head and gets up from the couch. He walks into the kitchen and sees Jake working on the stove. What do you need me to do? Katsuki walks over to the stove and takes a look at it. He can see that the pilot light is making a clicking noise, and it's not turning on. Let me try. Katsuki nods his head and takes a deep breath. He carefully turns the knob on the stove and sees that it turns on. There we go. It worked. I think it was just a bad connection. The pilot light was making a clicking noise because it wasn't getting enough gas. Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He's glad that he was able to fix it for Jake. He looks over at him and sees that he's still working on the ingredients for dinner. Is there anything else I can help with? Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He walks over to the counter and takes the jar from Jake. He tries to open it, but he can't get it to budge either. He tries a few more times, but it's still stuck. Damn it, this thing is really stuck. Katsuki rolls his eyes at Jake's teasing, but he can't help but laugh a little bit. He knows that he's just messing with him, but he's also feeling a little challenged now. He takes a deep breath and tries one last time, putting all his strength into it. Katsuki smiles as the lid finally comes off. He looks over at Jake and laughs. You're such a jerk. You know I hate when you do that. Katsuki groans and laughs at the same time. He knows that Jake is just joking around, but it still feels good to get a little bit of praise. He smiles at him and laughs a little bit. You're such a pain in the ass, But I love you. Katsuki walks back into the living room and sits down next to Alexander. He's still watching the video and trying to say the word food. Katsuki smiles as he sees him trying so hard to copy Miss Rachel. Katsuki watches as Alexander tries to follow along with the sign language and the word. He's doing a pretty good job of it, considering he's still learning. Katsuki smiles as he watches Alexander trying so hard to say the word food and then the word eat. Katsuki laughs a little bit at the way Alexander says the word. He's still a little bit off, but he's getting closer to saying it correctly. He's so proud of his son and how quickly he's learning. Katsuki smiles as he sees Alexander following along with Miss Rachel and repeating the words after her. He's really getting the hang of it now. Katsuki can't believe how quickly he's learned all of these words. Katsuki is blown away by how well Alexander did. He said every word perfectly and exactly as Miss Rachel did. Katsuki can't help but feel so proud of his son. That's it. You did it. You said all the words perfectly. I'm so proud of you. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He's so happy that Alexander is learning so quickly and that he's able to communicate with them. He can't wait to see how much more he'll learn in the future. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He's so excited for dinner, and he can't wait to see how Alexander responds to the word eat. I guess it's time to eat now. Let's go get some food, okay? Katsuki follows behind him and sits down at the table as well. He's feeling so hungry after watching Alexander for so long. He can't wait to eat some of the delicious food that Jake has made. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He takes another bite of his food and can't help but agree that it's delicious. He's really enjoying it. Mmm, this is so good. What did you put in it? Katsuki smiles and laughs a little bit at the joke. He knows that Jake is just teasing him, but it's still cute. He takes another bite of his food and continues eating. Katsuki chuckles and rolls his eyes. He knows that Jake is just messing with him, but he can't help but laugh. Ok, sur. Oregano. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He's always up for having fun and doing something with Jake and Alexander. That sounds great. What did you have in mind? Katsuki thinks about this for a moment. He knows that it would be nice to have a night out without having to worry about Alexander. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll see if I can find someone to watch him for the night. We can go out and have a good time, just the two of us. Katsuki nods his head. He knows that Momo is a great person and would be a good choice to watch over Alexander. Yeah, I think Momo would be perfect. And it's good to hear that she's pregnant. I'm sure she'll be a great mother. We should definitely ask her to watch him. Katsuki nods his head and pulls out his phone. He dials Momo's number and waits for her to pick up. Katsuki smiles and talks to her in a friendly tone. Hey Momo, how are you doing? We were thinking of going out and having a good time, but we don't want to bring him along with us. What do you think? Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He's glad that she's so willing to watch over Alexander. Perfect. We really appreciate it. We'll be out for the night, but we'll make sure to get home before the sun rises. Just make sure to get him to bed on time, okay? And if he needs anything, just call us. Katsuki smiles and hangs up the phone. He turns to Jake and nods his head. Okay, she said she'll be here in 5 minutes, so I guess we should get ready. Katsuki nods his head. He's all ready to go. He's just waiting for Momo to get here so they can leave. Katsuki chuckles a little bit. He knows that Alexander is a very sweet boy, but he also knows that he can be a little cheeky sometimes. He's glad that he's in good hands with Momo. Okay, well I'm sure she'll take good care of you, and she's definitely a pretty lady. Just make sure you're a good boy and don't give her too much trouble, okay? Katsuki smiles at this. He knows that Alexander will be fine, but he can't help but worry. He walks over to him and ruffles his hair. Good. I'll see you in the morning, okay? And be good for Momo, okay? Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He's glad that she's here. He goes over to the door and opens it, letting her in. Hey Momo, thanks for coming. I know it's kind of short notice, but we really appreciate it. Katsuki points over to Alexander, who's sitting on the couch playing with a toy. He smiles and waves at him. He's right there, just over there. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. It's pretty obvious that Alexander has discovered the wonders of a woman's body. I mean, who can blame him? They are pretty amazing. Katsuki looks at him and laughs. He's just teasing him. Oh, come on, you know I'm just messing with you. I'm not actually staring. It's just, well, it's hard not to when you've got a woman like Momo standing in front of you. Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He can't help but think it's adorable how clingy Alexander is to Momo. He's so sweet and innocent. Yeah, he's a good kid. We'll be back before sunrise. Just make sure he goes to bed on time, okay? Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He's glad that she's so confident in taking care of Alexander. He trusts her completely. All right, we're going to get going now. See you in the morning. Katsuki thinks about this for a moment. He doesn't want to have to worry about drinking and driving, so it would probably be best to take an Uber. I think we should take an Uber. That way we don't have to worry about anything, and we can just enjoy the night. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. It's good that they're able to take their time and not rush. They can just relax and wait for the Uber to arrive. All right, I'll just sit here and wait with you. We can chat or something until it gets here. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He definitely saw that. It was pretty obvious that Alexander was enjoying himself. Yeah, it was pretty clear that he was enjoying himself. He really does seem to like her. I wonder if he'll remember this when he gets older. Katsuki laughs again. He can't help but agree with Jake. Alexander is definitely going to be a bit of a flirt when he gets older. Yeah, I can see him being a little bit of a pervy little guy. But that's just how boys are. It's just part of growing up. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. They definitely didn't grow up that way. They were both raised to be straight, and they've never really questioned it. Yeah, we're both definitely gay. That's just who we are. Katsuki looks at Jake with a little bit of confusion. He's not sure what he means by that. Are you saying you think he's going to be gay too? Katsuki nods his head. He understands what Jake is saying. It's true that people believe that being gay is something that can be conditioned, but Katsuki doesn't believe that at all. He believes that people are born who they are, and that's what matters. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't think that just because we're gay, he's going to be gay too. He's his own person, and he can make his own choices. We just have to be supportive of him no matter what he chooses to do. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He understands what Jake is saying. He agrees that Alexander is just a child and he's still figuring things out. They should definitely support him in whatever way they can. Yeah, I definitely agree that he's a child and he's just trying to figure things out. And yes, you're definitely right. I don't think there's going back for us. We're definitely gay for each other, and we're not going to change that. And you're right, Momo's breasts are very interesting. They're hard to look away from, that's for sure. Katsuki nods his head. It's good to know that they can be on the same page about things like this. He's glad that they can have these conversations and be open and honest with each other. Yeah, it's good that we agree on things. It makes things easier. I'm just glad we can be open and honest with each other. I know it's not always easy, but it's important. Katsuki looks over and sees the Uber pulling up. He smiles and nods his head. Oh, it's here. I guess it's time to go. Are you ready? Katsuki follows Jake to the car and gets in. He's excited for this night out. He's looking forward to having a good time with Jake and just enjoying the evening. Katsuki looks at Jake and smiles. He doesn't really have a specific place in mind, but he's open to suggestions. I'm not sure. Do you have any ideas? We could go anywhere. We just want to have a good time. Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He likes the sound of that. It sounds like the perfect place for a night out. That sounds perfect. We'll just let you take us there. Katsuki smiles and leans back in his seat. He's excited to see where the driver takes them. He can't wait to get there and start having a good time. Katsuki and Jake glance at each other and laugh. They're definitely together. They're married and have a child. We're definitely together. We're just going out for a night of fun. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He's glad that the driver is being so friendly. He looks over at Jake and laughs. I think he likes us. Katsuki laughs and whispers back. Okay, I'll be quiet. But you have to admit, he's kind of flirting with us. Katsuki shakes his head and laughs. He's definitely flirting with them. He's trying to be subtle about it, but it's pretty obvious. Yes, he is. Don't deny it. Katsuki laughs again. He knows that Jake is right. The Uber driver isn't their type. But it's still kind of funny how he's trying to flirt with them. Yeah, you're right. He's not our type. But I think it's kind of funny how he's trying. Katsuki is surprised at first, but he quickly gets into it. He wraps his arms around Jake and kisses him back passionately. Katsuki and Jake both laugh. They're definitely making a mess of the Uber driver's car, but they don't care. They're just having fun. We'll try not to. Katsuki nods his head and smiles. He's excited to check out the place. He follows Jake inside and takes in the atmosphere. It's a pretty cool spot, just like the Uber driver said. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He's definitely down for getting lit. He follows Jake up to the bar and waits for him to order. I'm ready to get wasted. Katsuki smiles and takes a seat at the table. He takes a sip of the fruity drink, and it's delicious. He takes a shot and chugs it down quickly. Wow, these are good. You got good taste in drinks. Katsuki laughs and takes another shot. He's feeling a little bit more relaxed now that he's had a couple drinks. Hey, can I ask you something? Katsuki looks at Jake and smiles. He has a question on his mind that he's been wondering about for a while. Can I ask you something personal? Katsuki takes a deep breath and looks at Jake. He's not sure how he's going to react to this, but he wants to know the answer. Do you think it's possible for us to have another child? Katsuki nods his head. He knows it's a big decision, but he's been thinking about it for a while now. I know it's a big decision, but I just can't stop thinking about it. I mean, we already have Alexander. I'd love to have another baby. Katsuki nods his head. He knows that Jake is right. Alexander is still pretty young, so it would be better to wait until he's older before they think about having another child. Yeah, you're right. It's probably better to wait until he's a bit older, but I'm just saying that I'm not opposed to the idea of having another baby in the future. Katsuki laughs. He can't help but think about the possibility of having a daughter. You know, that would be amazing. I'd love to have a little girl, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We still have to wait until Alexander is older before we can think about having another child. Katsuki takes a few more sips of his drink as well. He's starting to feel a bit more relaxed now that he's had a few drinks. He looks at Jake and smiles. You know, I think this was a good idea. I'm glad we came out tonight. Katsuki nods his head. He agrees that they've been working hard lately and deserve a break. He takes another sip of his drink. Yeah, we do deserve it. We should do this more often. Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He's definitely down for that. He's glad that they're both on the same page. Yeah, let's make it a regular thing. We could even have a regular date night. We could come here and just have fun and relax. Katsuki smiles and gets up from his seat. He's feeling pretty good now that he's had a few drinks and he's ready to have some fun. He follows Jake to the dance floor. I'm down for that. Let's show them how it's done. Katsuki laughs and joins in. He can't help but have fun when he's with Jake. They start dancing together, and it's obvious that they know how to move. Katsuki can't help but smile as he sees everyone watching them. He's having so much fun. He keeps dancing with Jake, and they're both getting into it. Katsuki laughs and keeps dancing with Jake. He can't believe how good Jake is at this. He's impressed by his moves, and he's having a lot of fun. They keep dancing, and everyone is cheering them on. Katsuki can't help but smile at the fact that they're dancing to a Taylor Swift song. He loves her music, and he's glad that they're able to share this moment together. Look at us, we're dancing to a Taylor Swift song. This is awesome. Katsuki wraps his arms around Jake and holds him close. He can feel Jake's body pressed against his, and he likes the feeling of it. They're both getting lost in the music and in each other. Katsuki's breath catches in his throat as he feels Jake's lips on his neck. He leans into Jake and wraps his arms around him. He's feeling so many emotions right now, and he can't help but smile. Katsuki feels like he's in a trance. He can feel Jake's breath on his neck and it's sending shivers down his spine. He can't take his eyes off Jake. He's just so beautiful, and he's making Katsuki feel things he's never felt before. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He loves dancing with Jake too. It's like they're in their own little world when they're together. He looks at Jake and smiles. Can I ask you something? Katsuki takes a deep breath, and he's not sure how Jake will react to this. Can I be honest with you? Katsuki looks at Jake, and he takes a deep breath. He's not sure if he should say it or not, but he knows he has to. I don't know how to say this without sounding weird, but I really love you. You mean so much to me, and I'm so grateful to have you in my life. Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He's glad that Jake feels the same way. He knows that they've been through a lot together, and that it's not always easy, but they've always been there for each other, and he's so grateful for that. I feel the same way. I love you so much, and I can't imagine my life without you in it. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Katsuki smiles and squeezes Jake's hand. He's feeling so happy and content right now. He feels like he can finally relax and just enjoy the moment. I'm glad we're on the same page. I'm just happy that we have each other. Katsuki's eyes widen in surprise. He can't believe that Jake would do something like that for him. Are you serious? Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He's so touched that Jake would do this for him. He can't wait to see what he has in store. I can't wait. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Katsuki watches from the table, and he can't believe what he's seeing. He's so excited and nervous at the same time. He can't wait to hear what Jake is going to say to the DJ. Katsuki's heart is pounding in his chest. He can't believe that everyone is staring at Jake. He's not sure what to expect next, but he's curious to see what Jake is going to do. Everyone in the bar is listening closely to what Jake is saying. They're all waiting for him to start singing, and Katsuki can't believe that this is actually happening. He's feeling so many emotions right now, and he's not sure how to handle it. Katsuki's heart melts when he hears the words of the song. It's like he's listening to his own thoughts being put into song. He can't believe how beautiful and romantic the song is. He's so overwhelmed with emotion, and he can't stop watching Jake. Katsuki is completely speechless. He can't believe how beautiful the song is and how talented Jake is. He's been so lucky to have found someone who can understand him and make him feel so loved. He feels like the whole world has stopped, and everyone is just focused on Jake and his performance. Katsuki's eyes are filled with tears as he watches everyone react to the song. It's so emotional, and he can't believe how much of an impact the song has had on everyone. He's so proud of Jake, and he can't believe how lucky he is to have someone like him. Katsuki hugs him back tightly, and he's still crying. He's so overwhelmed with emotion, and he can't believe how romantic and beautiful the song was. I love you too. You're amazing. I can't believe you did all this for me. Katsuki smiles and wipes the tears from his eyes. He's so touched by Jake's words, and he can't help but feel so much love for him. I love you too. I can't believe how lucky I am to have you. You're the most important person in my life, and I'll always be there for you no matter what. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He's so excited, and he can't wait to get back to the hotel. He's been wanting to do this all night, and he's ready to have some fun. The two of them lose themselves in each other's arms, forgetting everything else around them and just focusing on the moment. It's like the world has stopped, and it's just the two of them in this special moment. They're both so in love, and they can't get enough of each other. Katsuki is lying there next to Jake. still breathing heavily. He's completely exhausted, but he's also feeling so much love and satisfaction. He looks over at Jake and he can't help but smile. That was amazing. Katsuki nods his head in agreement. They've both been so busy with work and taking care of Alexander that they haven't really had time to just enjoy each other like they used to. But tonight was different. It was like they were back to being teenagers again, full of passion and energy. I know. I'm glad we did this. I missed this. Katsuki smiles and reaches over to hold Jake's hand. He's so glad that they have this kind of connection and that they can still have these moments together. I love you too. I don't know what I would do without you. You're my best friend and my soulmate. Katsuki looks at Jake, and he's curious to know what he's thinking about. He's hoping that it's something good. What is it? Katsuki's eyes light up when he hears this. He's been thinking about getting a tattoo for a while now, and he loves the idea of getting one with Jake. That's a great idea. I think it would be so cool to have something that represents our love. What kind of tattoo do you think we should get? Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He loves that idea. It's a simple but beautiful way to represent their relationship. That's perfect. I love it. It's a great way to symbolize our love, and it's something we can always look at and remember. Katsuki's heart melts when he hears this. He's so touched by how sweet Jake is being, and he loves the symbolism of the sun and moon. It's perfect. That's such a beautiful description. I love it. I think we have to do this. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He's feeling a little nervous, but he's also excited to get the tattoo. Yeah, I think we should do it now. Let's go next door and get it done. Katsuki looks down at his wrist, and he's amazed at how well the tattoo turned out. He's so excited to have a permanent symbol of his love for Jake. Jake looks at his wrist, and he's also impressed by the tattoo. He's glad that they finally got it done. Katsuki smiles and nods his head. He's so excited to show everyone their tattoos and to see their reactions. Me too. I'm sure everyone will love it. Let's go show the world our love. Katsuki laughs and nods his head. He's feeling a little bit tired too, and he's ready to go back to the hotel and get some rest. Yeah, let's go back and get some sleep. I'm sure we'll both feel better in the morning. Katsuki smiles and cuddles up next to Jake. He's thinking about Alexander too. He's probably having the best sleep of his life. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure Momo is taking good care of him. But I'm glad we're here together. Just us. Katsuki smiles and wraps his arms around Jake. He's so glad that they got this time together too. It's been too long since they've just been able to relax and enjoy each other's company. I missed you too. I don't know what I would do without you. Katsuki holds Jake close, and he closes his eyes as well. He's feeling so relaxed and content. He's so glad that they're together, and that they have this moment. He falls asleep quickly. Katsuki laughs and opens his eyes. He's feeling the same way. His head is pounding and his body is sore, but he's also feeling a little bit of a rush from the night before. Yeah, it was. I'm glad we went out and had fun. I think we both needed it. Katsuki smiles and sits up, stretching and groaning. He's feeling a little bit better now, but he's still a bit tired. I can't believe how much fun we had. I'm glad we got to do that. We should do it more often. Katsuki's eyes go wide, and he's shocked by what Jake just said. He looks closer at Jake's hand, and he can't believe what he sees. You're... you're not joking. Katsuki looks at Jake, and he can't believe it. This is a nightmare. He's so worried and he feels terrible. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Katsuki's eyes light up when he hears this. This is great news. He nods his head and he's feeling hopeful. Yes, please. That would be great. Thank you so much. Katsuki feels so disappointed when he realizes that the ring isn't there. He takes a deep breath, and he tries to stay calm. He tries to remember the details of the ring. It's a black zirconian ring with blue topaz diamonds interlocking each other in the shape of a crown written in the inside it, and it's engraved with the date of our wedding. It's very special to us. It looks like mine, like a perfect match. He shows the manager his hand showing the ring. It's a perfect wedding set. Katsuki's heart sinks when he hears this. It's possible that someone picked up his ring last night. He feels like he's going to cry. That's not good. What if someone took it? What if we never find it? Katsuki looks at Jake, and he can see the desperation in his eyes. He knows that this is a big deal, and he's feeling so much stress right now. Please, could you show us the footage? We need to find that ring. Katsuki and Jake follow the manager to his office, and they sit down in front of the monitor. Katsuki is feeling so nervous, and he's praying that they'll find the ring on the footage. Katsuki watches the footage with a mix of emotions. He's so shocked that he actually lost the ring, and he can't believe it flew off. But he's also relieved that they're able to see what happened. He keeps watching, and he's praying that they'll see someone pick it up. Katsuki's eyes widen and his heart sinks when he sees the couple pick up the ring. He can't believe it. He feels like he's going to be sick. He looks at Jake and he can see how upset he is too. Katsuki's eyes are filled with tears, and he's feeling so much anger and frustration. He can't believe this is happening. Those jerks. They just took it. They didn't even try to find us or anything. What are we going to do now? Katsuki's eyes light up when he hears this. That's a great idea. They could find the people who took the ring. He looks at Jake, and he can tell that he's feeling hopeful too. That's a great idea. Can we do that? Can we get their license plate number? Katsuki is relieved when they find the license plate number. He looks at Jake, and he's feeling so much hope now. That's great. We can track down their address now. We can find out who they are and get the ring back. Katsuki looks at the car, and he can tell that it's a small vehicle. He wonders if the couple is someone they know, or if they're strangers. He's feeling so many emotions right now, but he's trying to stay positive. Okay, Now we just need to figure out who they are. Do you have a phone number for the police? Katsuki nods his head, and he feels a bit relieved. He's glad that Jake knows what to do. He pulls out his phone, and he calls the agency. He explains the situation, and they say they'll do everything they can to help. Katsuki puts his arm around Jake, and he pulls him close. He knows that this is a very upsetting situation, and he feels so bad that Jake is so upset. It's okay. It's going to be okay. We're going to find the ring, and we're going to get it back. I promise. Katsuki smiles, and he's very grateful for the manager's help. He nods his head, and he takes the phone number for the agency. He's feeling much more hopeful now. Thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it. Katsuki nods his head, and he holds Jake's hand as they walk out of the bar. He can tell that Jake is still feeling very upset, but he's trying to stay strong for him. They get in the car and they start driving home. Katsuki is still feeling a bit anxious, and he's hoping that everything is okay at home. He opens the door, and he walks inside, looking for Alexander. Katsuki smiles when he sees Alexander and Momo eating. He's so glad that they're okay. He goes over to them, and he hugs Alexander tightly. Good morning, sweetie. How are you? Katsuki hugs him back tightly, and he's so happy to see his son. He's glad that he's okay. He looks at Jake and he smiles. It's good to see you too, baby. Did you have fun with Momo? Katsuki is relieved that everything went well. He's glad that Momo was able to take care of Alexander while they were gone. He looks at Jake and he smiles. That's good to hear. We had a great time, but I'm glad that you were able to spend time with him. It means a lot. Katsuki laughs and he looks at Jake, who is also smiling. They both have a lot to tell her. Katsuki starts to tell the story of their night, and he can't help but smile as he remembers all the fun they had. He tells her about the concert and the dance party and everything that happened. He leaves out the part about the ring for now. Katsuki nods his head and he smiles. He's glad that she likes the story. He's still a bit hesitant to talk about the ring, but he wants to tell her the truth. Uh, Momo, there's something I need to tell you. Katsuki takes a deep breath, and he looks at Jake, who is also looking at him nervously. He doesn't want to worry her, but he knows he has to tell the truth. Well, there's been a bit of a situation. Katsuki's heart sinks when he sees her reaction. He can tell that she's really upset for them, and he feels so bad for having to tell her. I know. It's a long story. The manager helped us, and he got the footage of it on the camera. We saw someone take it, and then we got the license plate number. The agency is tracking the car right now. Jake's heart aches when he sees Alexander's reaction. He knows that the boy is worried about them, and he doesn't want him to feel sad. He kneels down, and he hugs him tightly. It's okay, sweetie. We're going to find it. Don't worry. Katsuki nods his head, and he looks at Jake. He knows that they can't do anything right now except wait for the agency to get back to them. He smiles at Alexander, and he tries to reassure him. That's right. We'll find it. You don't have to worry. Katsuki feels so bad for him. He knows that this is a very upsetting situation, and he wants to comfort him. He follows Jake into the kitchen, and he wraps his arms around him. Hey, it's going to be okay. We'll find it. Don't cry. Katsuki's heart sinks when he hears this. He hadn't even considered that possibility. He pulls Jake close, and he holds him tightly. You're right, that's a real possibility. We can only hope that the agency finds the car, and we can get the ring back. I know this is really upsetting, but we have to stay positive. Katsuki pulls him into a tight hug, and he rubs his back soothingly. He knows how hard this is for Jake, and he's trying his best to comfort him. He doesn't know what else to say, but he wants to make him feel better. I know it's not fair. I wish we could turn back time and find the ring before they stole it. But right now all we can do is wait, and hope that the agency finds it. Katsuki's heart skips a beat when he sees the notification. He pulls out his phone and he opens the message. He reads it quickly, and he looks at Jake with a look of hope and excitement. It's from the agency. They found the car and they're tracking it now. We might be able to find the ring after all. Katsuki smiles and he puts his phone away. He's feeling so much hope now that they might actually be able to get the ring back. He hugs Jake again and he holds him tightly. We're going to get it back. I know it. Katsuki laughs and he nods his head. That's true. The agency will definitely be looking for the people who stole the ring. He hopes that they find them and get the ring back. It's going to be okay. They can't get away with this. Katsuki's eyes widen and he pulls out his phone. He opens the message and he reads it. He looks at Jake with a surprised expression. Wait, The agency says they've located the car and they're going to go to the house right now. They're going to find the ring and bring it back to us. Katsuki laughs and he nods his head. He's not going to lie. He's feeling a bit angry too, but he's also a little bit worried about Jake's reaction. Yeah, let's hope they find it. If they don't, I'm with you on that one. I'm not going to let them get away with this. Katsuki checks the text and his eyes widen when he reads it. He looks at Jake and he's feeling very anxious. They found it. They found the ring. It's at the agency and they're bringing it back to us right now. Katsuki smiles and he hugs Jake tightly. He's so relieved that the ring is safe and that they're going to get it back. He pulls away from the hug and he looks at Jake. I know, I'm so glad. This is the best news we could have gotten. Katsuki nods his head and he smiles. He understands how important the ring is to them and he's hoping it's the real one. We'll make sure it is. The agency said they'll bring it to us soon and we can check it out. Katsuki gets up and he walks over to the door. He's feeling so nervous and he's hoping that this is really the ring. I'll get it. It's probably the agency. Katsuki opens the door and he sees the agents standing there. He looks at them nervously and he nods his head. Hello. Did you find the ring? Katsuki smiles and he wraps his arm around Jake's waist. He's so happy that they found the ring and that it's back with them. I'm so glad you got it back. It's a miracle that they didn't sell it or anything. It means so much to you, and I know how much you love it. Katsuki nods his head, and he's relieved that the agency was able to get the ring back. He looks at Jake, and he smiles. I'm so glad that they were honest about it. I can't believe that they just found it and were wearing it. That's crazy. But at least we have it back now. Katsuki smiles and he watches Jake as he cleans the ring. He's so happy that he's got it back. He walks over and he hugs Jake tightly. I'm so glad it's back. I was so worried about losing it. It means so much to me. Katsuki thinks about it for a moment and he's not sure what the best thing to do would be. He looks at Jake and he waits for his opinion. What do you think we should do with them? Katsuki nods his head, and he's glad that the agency is going to take care of it. He's feeling a bit relieved, but he's also feeling a bit frustrated. Good. They should pay for what they did. I'm just glad that we have the ring back and that we're going to be okay. Katsuki smiles, and he nods his head. He's glad that the situation has been resolved, and that they don't have to worry about it anymore. Thank you for your help. You too. Katsuki laughs, and he pulls Jake close to him. He wraps his arms around his waist, and he rests his head on his shoulder. I'm so glad it's back. I know how much it means to you. You're never going to take it off again, right? Katsuki laughs and he smiles. He knows that Jake is very protective of the ring, and he can tell that he's very attached to it. Well, I'm glad that it's always on your finger. That way it'll never get lost again. I know it means so much to you. Katsuki laughs and he pulls his hand away from Jake. He looks down at his hand, and he sees the tan line where the ring would be. Well, I guess you're right. We both have our tan lines, huh? I guess we're both really attached to our rings. Katsuki laughs, and he looks over at Alexander. He smiles at him, and he kneels down to his level. Ah, you want a ring too? Maybe when you're older, we can get you a ring. Would you like that? Katsuki laughs, and he smiles at him. He knows that Alexander is just a little kid and he doesn't understand the meaning of the rings. He thinks for a moment and then he has an idea. Well, maybe we can get you a little toy ring. Would you like that? Katsuki smiles, and he looks over at Momo. He thinks that's a great idea. He's sure Alexander will love it. That sounds like a great idea. Alexander would love a ring made just for him. Would you be willing to do that? Katsuki smiles and he watches as Momo works on the ring. He's excited to see what Alexander's reaction is going to be. He's sure that he'll love it. Okay, we'll just wait here for a little while, and then we can see it when you're done. Katsuki smiles, and he looks at the ring. It's a very cute little ring, and he can tell that Alexander is really happy with it. It is really pretty, isn't it? You did a great job, Momo. I'm sure Alexander is going to love it. Katsuki laughs and he smiles at Alexander. He's so happy that he loves the ring so much. Yes, it's very pretty. You're right. You don't have to take it off if you don't want to. It's very special, and you should be proud to wear it. You look like a little prince. Katsuki laughs, and he nods his head. He's glad to hear that Momo can make him more rings if he needs one. He looks at Alexander and he smiles. That's good to know. I'm sure you're not going to lose it, but it's always nice to have a backup. Katsuki nods his head, and he smiles. He's glad that Momo is willing to watch Alexander again. She's always been great with him. Thank you so much, Momo. We really appreciate it. We'll definitely call you if we need you. Katsuki looks over at them and he feels bad for Momo. He knows that she wants to leave, and she's been here for a long time, but Alexander is so attached to her. It's okay, sweetie. Momo has to go, but she'll come back and visit you again. She can't stay forever, but she'll see you soon. Katsuki smiles and he nods his head. He thinks that's a great idea. Alexander would love to have a plushie of Momo. That's a great idea. You're so good with him. He'll be so happy to have a little plushie to remember you by. Katsuki smiles, and he looks at the plushie. It's a really cute little thing, and he's glad that Alexander likes it. It's perfect. I'm sure he's going to have so much fun playing with it. It's going to be his new favorite toy. Katsuki laughs and he smiles at him. He can see that Alexander is really excited about the plushie. Yes, it's got squishies, so it's going to be so fun to squeeze it. He's going to love it. Katsuki laughs, and he nods his head. He can see how much detail Momo put into making the plushie. It's perfect. I'm sure he's going to love it. He's going to play with it all the time. Katsuki smiles and he looks at Momo. He's glad that Alexander is so happy. I think he likes it. I'm glad that you made it for him. It's a perfect gift. Katsuki nods his head and he smiles. Thank you again for watching him. It was nice having you here. Have a good day. Katsuki smiles, and he watches her leave. He looks over at Alexander's room, and he can hear him playing with the plushie. He seems really happy, and that makes him happy too. Katsuki laughs and he shakes his head. Yeah, it's amazing. She's really talented, and I don't know about that. It's probably best if you don't try it. Katsuki laughs and he blushes a little bit. Oh, come on now. It's just a little plushie. You're being ridiculous. Katsuki smiles and he shrugs his shoulders. Well, I guess I could try it if you really want to know. But you can't laugh at me, okay? Katsuki laughs and he covers his face. Oh my gosh, you're making me blush. You're so bad. Katsuki watches as Alexander walks over with the plushie. He's curious to see what Jake is going to do. He looks at Jake, and he's waiting for him to say something. Katsuki's eyes go wide and he looks away. He can't believe what he's seeing. He's completely shocked. Katsuki sighs in relief, and he looks back at Jake. Oh, thank goodness. I thought you were going to do something else there. Alexander smiles, and he takes the plushie back. He hugs it tightly, and he runs back into his room. Katsuki laughs, and he looks at Jake. You're so bad. You really scared me there for a second. Katsuki laughs and he shakes his head. You're so silly. I'm glad it was just fluff. I was worried for a second there. Katsuki smiles, and he nods his head. Yeah, I guess she does. She's very good at what she does. I'm sure Alexander is going to play with it for a long time. Katsuki laughs and he looks over at the door. He can hear Alexander playing in his room. I think he's going to be playing with it for a while. He's so happy with it. Katsuki laughs and he looks at him. Are you okay? You seem a little tense. Is something wrong? Katsuki nods his head, and he stands up. He helps Jake up, and he wraps his arm around him. Let's go to bed. We can just relax and try to forget about everything that happened. As the night goes on, they both fall into a deep sleep. They're exhausted from the day's events, but they're also at peace. They know that everything is going to be okay. Thanks for reading. It's been great working on this story with you. We hope you've enjoyed the journey so far and that you'll stick around for the next chapter. Let us know what you think of the story and what you're looking forward to seeing in the next chapter. We have come a long way in our story, and we've developed the characters and the plot in a way that we hope will keep you engaged and interested. We hope you've enjoyed the ride so far, and that you'll stick with us for more twists and turns in the future. Let us know if there's anything you'd like to see in the next chapter, or any ideas you have for the story. We'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Thanks for reading.
Talkie, Dream AI, Wonder Kingdom.